final sobre o pedido de anulação de Vossa Majestade.
Welcome to Bratislava, Slovakia, guys. Now, I obviously shouldn't be making a vlog right now. I've had about 2 or 3 hours sleep. I took a very early train from Prague here to Slovakia, absolutely exhausted. Already done some work, already filmed some videos. I should go to bed for a couple of hours. But you know, I haven't made many vlogs recently. I've made language interviews for you guys. I've made videos about how to learn languages, why to learn languages. If you haven't by now, that's your promise. All on my page. Go there, take a look at those videos and find out. I have made a few of these vlogs before, and I realize I travel all the time. I go around the world, I visit cities mostly for work, and I thought to myself, well, why don't I just start filming it? I'm here in Slovakia, I want to show you all the interesting things that are going on. And you might say to me, well, Peter, why don't you make a Slovak language video whilst you're here? Well, I could, but you remember the rule. I said I would make a language interview for every single one that got 1,000 views. As of making this video, I think Ukrainians got about 530 views, something totally pathetic. So no, once it gets 1,000 views, I will do another language video. Maybe it'll be Slovak, maybe it'll be something else. I'm thinking Danish probably, but I won't be making another one until you watch the last one. So if you want to see more language interviews, head over and watch them and I'll make some more. Anyway, for now, let's take a look at the city. I've been walking for about 30 seconds and already I've found something communist. I think that Bratislava is a lot more communist looking than Prague. Prague's got a lot of the old architecture. Here in Bratislava, you've got old things from communism, which is weird because this was not the capital city of Czechoslovakia. Of course, Czechoslovakia fell apart in 1993. But a lot of this stuff is still here, even though it wasn't the administrative capital. I don't know what this thing represents. I see a few more down here. We've got a woman, a child, a man, something with agriculture probably. Okay, I was only walking a few seconds. I found even more communist murals. We got some agriculture here, a man and a woman and a cow. We got some communists here building something. I guess this represents mechanics or architecture. Not sure what they're building here. Something like a bell. No idea what this stuff is. It's very clearly manual labourers making something. No idea what it is. If you know what it is, please let me know in the comments. What does this one represent? Womanhood, a man and a woman, 2 men, very weird. These 2 people are saying, nice to meet you. One's got a horse, is that? Very odd. What's this, a jug? More jug. I guess this is a building that represents some kind of architecture or agriculture. Let's take a look along and see what this building actually represents. Okay, apparently it is the Slovak Technical Library. So all of these different things here are different forms of technology, or at least they were modern technology 50, 80 years ago, and now they kept it here. A lot of people say they want to get rid of the old communist architecture, a lot of the communist murals. Of course, we don't agree with communism, we don't like socialism, but I think this is part of history. I think we should keep it. And even if the communists didn't do a lot of good stuff, I think some communist murals are interesting and we should keep them as much as possible. What do you think? I don't know if you can see this wall behind me. You probably can't hear me well either because of all the traffic. Can you see these communist murals? If Baldwin Bankrupt were here, he'd be going crazy for this. All these buildings in the centre look like they were made about 60 years ago and they were never replaced. There's some more. You got one here, you got one there, and another one further down I can show you in a few seconds. You definitely know that you're in Central or Eastern Europe if you can see stuff like this. Look at this old Soviet architecture and the Soviet murals. You don't see this anywhere like France or the UK or America. If you see this, you definitely know you're in Czechoslovakia or East Germany or the former Soviet Union. I rather like it. Now, although I can speak 25 languages, I have to admit, Slovak is not one of my strongest languages. I can speak Czech, I can speak Polish, I can speak Ukrainian, I can speak Russian, all these languages. Therefore, I can understand Slovak very well. And then if you add in German and Hungarian, you can basically understand everything. And although I can't say everything I want to, I understand the language. And I can, of course, get by. If I have to speak Slovak, I can speak the language as best as possible, and I just add in a lot of Czech words, which they probably don't like, but it's better than speaking English. You add in those Czech words or you make some mistakes sometimes, and they can basically understand everything you want to say. Of course, in the future, I want to just do a couple of weeks of Slovak class just to freshen it up. And of course, there are so many Slovaks living in Prague where I live, they'll have so much opportunity to practice. But I'm just going to show you what's in front of me. Take a look at here. You can see it's called the Fontana Družby, which I know, of course, means the Fountain of Friendship, and this is the Square of Freedom. I think it's Náměstí Slobody. See, I wouldn't know that necessarily, but because I can speak Czech and I can speak Polish, I just know automatically what these words mean. It's really interesting. 1989 here is famously the year that communism fell in Europe. Behind that, you can see a very uncommunist looking building. Now, you know, I've said a lot about the communist stuff here in Bratislava. If the camera can focus, if you can see it, you see communist buildings over here, communist buildings in the distance. In the past, I'd have said they were really ugly, but now I accept them as part of human history, especially the history of Central and Eastern Europe. But here, you can see a super beautiful building. Now, I don't want to say that the communist buildings are ugly or something. Let me turn the camera around. I don't want to say that the communist buildings are really ugly and the old-fashioned buildings look super nice, but I much prefer the architecture from 200-300 years ago. Let me turn the camera around again. Let's have a look. Apparently this is a government building. We see here it says Úrad vlády Slovenskej republiky, which means the building of the government, or the national building of the Slovak Republic. You can see here, very nice inside. Don't know if anyone's in here. All I can see is this little robot going around mowing the grass. Hope you can hear me with all the traffic behind me. Oh look, an old vehicle from the Second World War or something, yeah. So despite the fact that Central and Eastern Europe has a lot of old communist architecture, it's not very beautiful sometimes. In every city, here in Bratislava included, you can find beautiful architecture like this. Whenever I see this flag and it's not waving, I always think, wait, I'm in Russia. Then it waves a little bit and I realise, oh no, I'm actually in Slovakia, or I'm sometimes in Slovenia. I'm thinking, wait, am I really in Russia? I haven't been to Russia for 7 years now. No, I'm actually in Slovakia. Okay, I said we're not in Russia, but I've just seen this monument. And look at this flag. I know that it's supposed to be a representation of the Slovak flag, but tell me, does this look like the Russian flag or not? Look at it this way. Don't want to disrespect it, but that definitely looks like the Russian flag. It is surreal. Believe me guys, I'm definitely in Slovakia. I'm not in Russia. No plans to visit Russia anytime soon, especially with a Ukrainian girlfriend, but seeing this flag like this is totally surreal. Now, I'm aware that many people who live in the West, especially in North America or in places like the UK, many of whom from the older generation will have this idea that Central and Eastern Europe is still this poor communist shithole. Hate to say it, but it's nothing like that. This is an older generation thing. Anybody who's younger, who's been to Prague or Krakow or Budapest in the last 20 years will see what I can see right now in front of me. This is a modern, vibrant place, in many ways better than Western Europe nowadays. You got very little crime, you got very little antisocial behavior, you got children, you got families all running around, enjoying themselves, living well. You couldn't do this in many Western European cities. You couldn't do this in many inner cities in America. You wouldn't want your children out like this, playing alone. It would be dangerous. But here in Central Europe, the native population is still safe. If you want to live in a European country, I highly recommend the Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, much more than I would say France or the UK. Mój styl, mój príbeh. This is just like Czech. My style, my story. Styl podľa Alberta, 5 rokov. Style according to Albert, 5 years old. Detské oblečenie, navrhnuté vo Švédsku. Children's clothing, set out in Sweden. Even if I can't speak fluent Slovak, because I speak Czech, I understand literally everything that's written here. Magyarország nagykövetsége Pocsony. Velvyslanstvo Maďarska Bratislava. Konzuli osztály. Konsulárne oddělení. So the Hungarian embassy in Bratislava, the consular department. It's crazy how you can see languages everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go, whether it's in Bratislava or Hungary, or you go to Latin America, or anywhere in the world. You can see different languages wherever you go, and it's exciting. The more languages you speak, the more you can understand. You can basically go around the world and understand everything. So I don't care what the haters say. You could say I don't speak languages, ignore all the interviews I've done. I get pleasure from understanding languages. I get pleasure from going around and talking to people. That's enough for me. I'm happy. I apologise if you can hear the fountain noise next to me. It seems that everywhere in Slovakia just has fountain noises. You can't escape them. Anyway, behind me you can see the presidential palace of Slovakia, the home of the Slovak president. I keep thinking that the president of Slovakia is Zuzana Čaputová. Of course, she left about 2 years ago. The new president is called Peter Pellegrini. a bit like me, but Italian version. And he actually used to be the Prime Minister, but now he's the President. Let me show you the palace. The flag of the President of Slovakia up there. I don't know if the flag flying means that the President of Slovakia is home right now. In the UK, for example, if the royal flag is on top of a royal palace, it means that the king is at home, or the queen in the past. If the flag is flying on top of Buckingham Palace, it means that King Charles is there. I don't know if this is the same for every country. I think in most countries the flag just flies there whether they're visiting or not. On this spot in the year 1945, there was a field cemetery of the Soviet army. A glory and honor to the Soviet heroes who fell for the freedom of our country. Very controversial statement there, but only goes to prove if you can speak Slavic languages, understanding Slovak is so easy, believe me. I've never studied this language and I can understand every single word. Say something of value on the video. We'll try again.
What do you
Скажи
want?
что-то на видео.
No, Indian.
No what?
No curry.
No curry.
No curry.
No curry. The Danube River in the evening.
It's obvious I can't stream it like for the next 5 years, just everyday stream it. No, I definitely need. Because there's a bomb. Oh, happy birthday! Thank you.
Good morning, guys. I was absolutely exhausted last night, so I just had to sleep for about 9 hours. But I'm back again, feeling super fresh. So we're going to go into the city, the center of Bratislava. I'm going to show you around. I don't know if you can see that in the distance, but that is the Bratislava castle. Looks very different to the castle we have in Prague. So now we're entering the main street in Bratislava. This is basically where all the tourist stuff happens, just on one street. Take a look. Here you can see the duality of Slovakia. Behind me, you've got a beautiful old church. Hope you can see that. And then over here, you've got a motorway or a major road that was built by the communists. You've got stuff that was built hundreds of years ago, beautiful, and stuff that was built 40 years ago, probably. This is your daily reminder that modern art sucks. Slovak, and obviously Hebrew. Slovak just feels like a dialect of Czech. I know that's very offensive to Slovak people, but as someone who can speak Czech, it's almost the same language, just certain words are different and certain rules on pronunciation are different. It's very much like Austrians still speak German, it's just a little bit different, or Americans and Brits, or Mexicans and Spanish people. That's what I feel Czech and Slovak is like. Here you can see the south side of Bratislava and all the construction here. And over there, you can clearly see the border between Slovakia and Austria. And you can see exactly where the border is, because on the Slovak side, there is just trees, there's forests. And on the Austrian side, there are hundreds, if not thousands of wind turbines. You can see exactly where the border is, because the forest stops and the wind turbines start. There you can see a Slovak government building, and up there, one of the biggest flags I've ever seen. And to the right is the castle we're about to go to. And here is a Škoda, probably a government car. You can always tell if it's a Slovak or a Czech car because it's a Škoda, look. Let's go. Here you can see the Bratislava castle. Let's take a look at the city. Here.
There's certain times that they don't go outside. Same in Spain, that's why they have a siesta.
Whilst we're talking about contrast, you can see here the old town of Bratislava, much of which was built hundreds of years ago, and the stuff here, the bridge, the motorway, the old communist building, the factories in the distance, the contrast between communist Czechoslovakia and the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And then behind that, modern Slovakia with the American-style skyscrapers. Basically, you've got 3 cities all together in one. It's fascinating.
Можете что-то болтать? Just film both of you. Peter, you want me to film around?
I just made a video on my Instagram and TikTok saying the difference between the border with Austria and Slovakia, that you can clearly see where that border is. I mentioned it earlier in this vlog, and somebody responded, well, you can't say the difference between Western and Central Europe because Austria and Germany are Central Europe. Okay, well then how do you describe the difference? Because you used to be able to say that Slovakia and the Czech Republic were Eastern Europe, but they're not anymore. So both of them are Central Europe. So how would you describe the difference between these Central European countries which are more Eastern and Central European countries which are Western? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What the fuck is going on here? Look at this! This literally started about 5 minutes. Absolutely crazy. I was going to show you more of Bratislava. I don't think I'm going to do that now. What is going on?
You got some magic mushrooms?
They are healthy, so I probably should. The last thing we got to see in Bratislava is the main square. It's not like the squares in Prague or Budapest or Warsaw or Krakow. It's not that big, it's a pretty small city, but it's quite nice. You could imagine that Bratislava is just a smaller town in Poland or the Czech Republic, and then it's a really nice place. It's somewhere to come and visit a few times. I don't think it's the place to live because you get bored very quickly, but just for 2 or 3 days I think it's an amazing place to visit. Let me just show you around the main square. It's very beautiful in the summer, but in some ways, despite the fact I don't like the winter, I think it's nicer around about December because this whole square here is full of the Christmas market and there's lots of things to do, lots of things to drink, lots of things to eat. It's called Indian delivery drivers. What the fuck is going wrong with this country? That's another thing. I don't know what it is currently about Central European countries. They used to be free from this nonsense. Yeah, you'd expect it in France and the UK and Germany, but now countries like Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, Czech Republic, it's full of these Indians and Pakistanis who are taxi drivers and delivery drivers. I don't know what's going wrong. This isn't normal. You can't escape them. Where can you go in the world where they don't live? It used to be Western Europe, then they were in America, and then you'd be a tourist in Thailand and then be everywhere. Okay, but at least in Central Europe you wouldn't be able to see them. And now they're here. Where's left? Are they in Latin America? Where can I escape these Indians? Okay, Indian rant over. Let's just look at this square in peace. Right, it's the end of the trip. Let's take a look at what Bratislava train station actually looks like. So first of all, compared to Prague railway station, it's pretty small. It looks like it was built, I don't know, 50 years ago. I would say it was built under communism when it was Czechoslovakia. It's not very big, but there are lots of flights going to Budapest. Oh, take a look at this. Crazy. Shot. Yes, da.
43.
Молодец. Oh. Take a look at this. Very nice. What do you think? So for the end of the video, I just want to sum up what I thought about Bratislava. It is a cool city. It's a place worth visiting. But of course, it is not as big as Prague. It's not as big as Budapest or as big as Krakow. These are probably the cities you should go to first. Assuming you've been to them all, then by all means, go to Bratislava. Especially if you're going to Vienna, for example, because you can take a train that's 40 minutes and you can visit Bratislava for the day. There's lots to see in the city, but I would say 1 or 2 days maximum, unless you have a real reason to go to Bratislava. It's basically a day trip or a short weekend trip. I've been there many times, admittedly, so I've seen it. If you've not been there, definitely go. But now I've seen it, I think there's a lot more places to visit. So if you enjoyed this vlog, I will happily make more, because it seems that my vlogs get more views than the videos where I actually explain to you about learning languages or how to learn languages. I guess you've seen all that before, you know how to do it. It's your choice. You either do it or you don't. And the language interviews, more will come out when the Ukrainian video gets to 1,000. I said it already. So if you want to see more of my travels, please subscribe to my page, drop a comment about what you think. And if you do that, I'll make some more of these. See you in the next one.